Welcome to Inside. If you're seeing this video, you might be wondering why I don't have Limbo here, since they are kind of a package deal. Well, I did play it, wrote part of a script too, even beat the game. However, it took me about 2.5 hours the first time through, and when I saw that 5 deaths trophy, I knew I wouldn't be able to do it because my patience is not enough for those types of trophies. So here we are instead. Inside is a dark, atmospheric, side-scrolling puzzle platformer following a nameless boy set in a dystopian world where the oppressed are mind-controlled, always under heavy surveillance and even experimented on. It is a bleak game. Not a single word is spoken. Instead, Inside relies on the environment, the ambience and the sound design to help set the tone of each area and create a unique experience, having you question what is happening throughout the story. Inside has 14 trophies, and every single one of them is for grabbing a collectible throughout different chapters in that story. No challenge runs here, and I'm looking at you for that one, Limbo. So, we will be going through the entire game, enjoying the moments we can and grabbing any collectibles we find along the way. Hopefully this is a one playthrough type of game, but if I do miss any, that'll be for cleanup. So, with all that information out of the way, let's 100% inside. Starting at chapter 6, we make a left and swim under the water into a secluded cave, which after a little parkour and dropping a wooden beam, we open our first disco ball, getting the trophy Murky Waters because something is not right here. Doubling back, we begin making our way up the hill towards chapter 7, apparently passing Silent Hill as we do, but that's another game for another day. We make it to a cornfield and holding the grab button throughout it, we can reveal a bunkered door that upon opening and descending, we can find our second disco ball tucked away to the left, earning our second trophy, Field Research. Don't forget this place low as we will be returning to it later on. Heading towards the farm, we pick up a few chicks along the way, and by my surprise, it turns out chickens can actually fly. If it's by their choice is a totally different matter, as we send them hurtling towards a hay bale so we can continue our journey right. I don't have a clue where I'm going, but it's better than here, I guess. Escaping to the roof, we can do a leap of faith straight into chapter 9, where we can pick up our next trophy using this pig cart to help us. If you guessed we are heading to the left, you are correct as we head back to the barn, prying loose a piece of wood and climbing into the nastiest looking pig pen I've ever seen. Climbing the rope in the centre and you guessed it, heading left again, which I didn't, and after opening our third disco ball, we get the wee trophy that we can bring all the way home. Now, this is where the game starts to take liberties with the trophies, as the next one isn't until chapter 15, so whenever this happens, I will just give you a little recap between the chapters. Escaping from the farm and jumping the fence, we begin a boss fight with a pig who, after smashing into a wooden wall and then into what looks to be a furnace, we show our might by using them as a stepping stone for the mind control device that we stick on our head without a second thought. And we learn that certain people in this world work as puppets, mimicking anything and everything we do, including destroying buildings, clicking the like button and subscribing to build us a path forward. Opening the gate, we see our first real bit of sunlight, and it almost makes you forget that we were just recently shot at and chased by dogs for seemingly no reason. And with that, we end the forest segment of the game. Skipping ahead a little, we are now in what appears to be a warehouse, and after dropping a safe, we also drop into chapter 15, and you guessed it, head left again. Opening a small hatch and our fourth disco ball, earning the left behind trophy. Sliding down the side of a warehouse, we enter chapter 16, saving ourselves by clinging onto a drain pipe, which we shimmy down, jumping onto a ladder, and upon reaching the bottom, we open our fifth disco ball, earning the Obscure Foundations trophy. After some roof hopping, we are on the floor, watching these mindless husks shuffle along as we break into another building, which, after powering up the machines, I realise maybe it's better to open the gate when the giant spotlight isn't watching your every movement. Next building over, we fall through the cheapest contractor's best work and end up becoming a part of the group. So now we need to shuffle along with them, and I will be honest here, I was counting the steps in my head so I didn't mess it up. The first jump went by easy. However, because I was so focused on counting, I didn't see that we left the yellow line, resulting in me being electrocuted for the second time in 5 minutes. Second yellow marker, I do my best cha-cha slide, moving to the left, then taking it back now y'all, and I can go to work by making my escape before the dogs sniff me out, which means that these husks don't have the same smell as sentient humans. However, I don't escape Princess, and she turns me into her favourite chew toy. Roof hopping again, we play Metal Gear Solid, avoiding spotlights and blending in with the environment while trying to find an escape route, which does go quite well as I find a red hatch, and after safely dropping in, we end what I will call the industrial part of this game. Continuing my stealth mission, I acquire this sub pod and begin my underwater adventures by repeatedly smashing it into a wall and abandoning it for the other side. However, I realise that swimming is scary, so after dropping these pods, we actually get a glimpse of an artificial forest that is blocked off by a wall, which begs the question, what is the point of trees if they don't get any sunlight? Reuniting with the pod, I get my first genuine jump scare because what in the actual hell was that thing? It doesn't matter. What does matter is that we are finally in chapter 30, and after heading down these stairs, knocking this box away and playing some mind games with these husks, we open our 6th disco ball, getting the Friends in Low Places trophy. Speaking of friends, curiosity got the better of me, and after seeing that creature again and removing my light away from it, they helped me out of my pod without using the hatch. I did get my revenge for that though, locking them in that room for the remainder of their days. Which did lead us into chapter 32, so after breaking out of the room, you guessed it, we head to the left as far as we can, and upon hitting the wall, we begin to hit the wall, using the now fallen debris to climb up and open our 7th disco ball, getting a tableau trophy, with me secretly hoping we don't meet that creature ever again, which we already know is going to happen. Jumping ahead into chapter 34, we now have a mind control helmet, and after fumbling around in the mines, we begin the setup with our husks, throwing us up to this rope, then dropping down onto this giant minecart, and you guessed it right again, we head left, but this time there's more to be done. Heading left as much as we can, we set up this little puzzle, releasing some more husks into our ever-growing group and having them break this board with us, so we can continue to head back left, but this time, we need to fight. Grabbing our fiery weapon, we fight against Princess and her friends, keeping them at arm's length, which after an epic battle, we find and open our 8th disco ball, earning the pack mentality trophy, which we actually do ourselves, grabbing more and more husks to open this giant door, bringing an end to this part of our underground adventure. The next trophy isn't until chapter 44, so let's have another little recap of things, shall we? I went into what looks to be a wind farm or something, and these were my favourite moments of being in there. Reaching the next section, we meet the creature again, who gave me anxiety whenever she gets near, as I already have a fear of deep water, and the thought of her dragging me into it made it about 10 times worse. But of course, curiosity got the better of me again, so I had to see the scene for myself, and it was just about as horrifying as I expected. The section though was actually quite cool overall. The creature would move in the water whenever you are in it as well, so the only way for you to escape is to use this chain and dip your feet in slightly, therefore bringing her away from the exit so you can make your escape. Amazingly to me, the chapters went by a lot quicker than I expected, as we are already in chapter 44 where we will get our next trophy. This involves first dropping into this water and leading the creature to the other side of the room using the hatch. Now that the creature's further away, you guessed it right again, we head left. Swimming underwater to reach and then open our 9th disco ball, earning the respite trophy. But clearly, the creature didn't like us messing with them. As we near freedom, the walkway breaks and we are dragged into the abyss below, where somehow we get the ability to now breathe underwater. So, using our newfound mermaid man powers, we make our way through the flooded laboratory, reaching chapter 48. From level 3, we swim far down, as far as we can, until we see a water vent, and you guessed it, we swim left, opening this door and continuing to swim left to the point where we can open our 10th disco ball, earning the unfathomable trophy. Swimming ahead a little, we find this small divot in the floor, which after swimming down into, I now know I am in chapter 48 thanks to finding the disco ball. To get this disco ball, we have to head back the way we came and continue the story a little bit until we reach this hand wheel. That we turn until we get it almost perfectly horizontal. Now we can head back left, back towards that divot again, and swim back to open our 11th disco ball, earning the clockwork trophy. To my surprise, the rest of the remaining trophies aren't that far away from each other, with the last 3 being in chapter 50, 54 and 57. Which isn't the end of the game, but there is a surprise for collecting all of them and actually finishing the game. So jumping straight into chapter 50, our next disco ball is, you guessed it, is to the right. Which after pushing this jump block all the way up to the end of the room, pressing this button and jumping onto the platform before it closes, we can open our 12th disco ball and get the room for reflection trophy. Jumping ahead a little again, we are now in a different type of warehouse, where we can witness actual humans with their kids treating the husks as cargo, showing there is a clear difference between the two, and this distinction is implanted into the human mind from a very young age. We see this even more so after going through a series of what looks to be test chambers and their unwilling participants, who at this stage have a seemingly symbiotic relationship with us, as we no longer need the mind control helmet to get them to do what we need them to do. Using our newfound husk friends and manipulating an elevator a few times, which took me a lot longer than I care to admit, we have one group throw us up to a rope, which, as you guessed correctly again, we head to the left. We get the second group player to then throw us upwards to open our 13th disco ball, earning the office space trophy. Moving right along, we pass even more test subjects and all of the scientists who are now staring at something, but we do not have time for that right now. Passing even more of these scientists who are too focused to pay attention to us, we make it to the end of the walkway and into chapter 57, which after climbing a ladder, and you guessed right for the final time, we make our way to the right. You can see a board with 13 lights lit up, which when compared against the chapter select menu, actually show you where to get each collectible, except for this one, that upon going into the giant disco ball, we open our 14th disco ball, earning the last one trophy, getting us every trophy inside. But if you look at the board again, Chapter 7's light is still on, that we will visit soon. However, we have a game to finish, so here is the abridged version of the last few chapters. Making our way back down, walking fast and into a water section, we open up the lid that sucks us into a weird experiment combined of multiple husks, that after getting 3 of the 4 mind control devices off of it, it then absorbs us and we become a part of this abomination. Breaking free, soaring, flying and going on a little rampage heading through the entire facility, the scientists just watch us jiggle about or run away, which honestly seems like the more appropriate response. However, this hasn't impeded us in any way as we still solve puzzles. We even get this one scientist helping us out and even showing us what to do, which I thought was a nice touch. But they aren't good people. You mustn't forget that they aren't nice people, as they trap us once again in a giant tank. That doesn't actually stop us, so after getting free, we resurface and make a run for it, smashing into this wall and to freedom. That is unfortunately short-lived. As we roll down the hill, we are bathed in sunlight, the camera slowly panning away, ending both the game and our lives. For that one moment in the sun, we were free of everything. The experiments, the mind control, the surveillance, our bleak world was filled with colour, a final glimpse of the life we were denied. But don't go just yet, we still have a secret ending to uncover. Returning to chapter 7 where we earned the second trophy, we can now unlock the bunker door using the combination on screen. As we step inside, more of the mind control devices come into view. Eventually, we pry open a metal grate and pull the plug, and everything fades to black. My theory is that the kid was being controlled all along, possibly by that abomination, and that this final act shut everything down. There's nothing after this, only darkness. And that is Inside, a definitely strange game that can be beaten in about 2.5 hours if you know your way around the puzzles and don't mind being confused by the endings like I am. Mine are just theories, and seriously, what was that blob? Can someone tell me? But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe because I enjoyed recording this. I hope you enjoyed watching. And as always, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and from the blob and I, goodbye.